In the previous part, we talked about how to create channels, join channels, and update channel configuration parameters. In this third part, we will talk about Fabric chaincode and the chaincode operations. Once a Fabric network is running, channels are created, peers are joined into the channels. Many would like to deploy their own applications onto the network and see their applications in action. The most important part of an application in Fabric terms will be chaincode. Before you can run any of your chaincode methods or functions, you will have to make your chaincode ready. That process normally involves 3 steps. First, you will need to install your chaincode onto peers. Then you need to get an agreement based on the endorsement policy of the channel. Eventually, someone authorized to do the chaincode commit will have to commit the chaincode. Only after that process, a user can submit a transaction proposal onto the blockchain. Minifabric made the entire process very easy. To install chaincode, place your chaincode in var's chaincode directory. Please see the chaincode mycc example on the screen. mycc is the name of the chaincode. It is also the direct name used in this structure. Then, there are 2 subdirectories under mycc directory. Each represents a chaincode implementation using that language. For example, you see Go and Node. You can certainly just have one implementation using either Go, Node, or Java. This structure is required by Minifabric. Otherwise, Minifabric won't be able to find the chaincode you like to install. Once you place your chaincode in the right directory and the structure, you can run the install command with a name by using the -n option. This command will normally take a while to complete because Minifabric will try to pull all the dependencies and build the package, then install onto every peers that this Minifabric has access to. After chaincode installs successfully onto all the peers, you can run the approve command. This is to allow normally one admin from each organization participating in the channel to approve the chaincode. Be aware that the approve process is new in Fabric 2.0. If you are using older releases, when you run the approve command, Minifabric will do nothing. If the approve command returns with no errors, you can commit and initialize the chaincode by running the commit command. One important thing you will have to remember to do is to give the correct chaincode initialization parameters. Normally, your initialization and invocation will require multiple parameters based on your own chaincode. This will be different from one chaincode to the other most likely. Knowing your chaincode method interface and the required parameter is important. Without specifying correct number of parameters or correct type of parameters, most likely your initialization process will fail. Remember that your parameters for the chaincode will have to use the -p option and be enclosed in single quote. Each parameter will have to be enclosed in double quote inside the single quote. You will see an example a bit later when we do the demo. Discover command allows a user to figure out what is the current endorsement policy. This is especially important after you added a new organization or your chaincode just committed has chaincode level endorsement policy. We will talk more about the endorsement policy in the next part of the video. For now, we will just use the inherited endorsement policy. In the later demo, I will show you how the discovered endorsement policy file look like and where to find it. Invoke command works nearly identical to the commit command. The only difference is that Minifabric will automatically send the transaction proposals to the peers which are required by endorsement policy. Normally, it will be a great idea to run the Discover services before you invoke a Chaincode. This is to make sure that you are sending the transaction proposal to the right peers for endorsement. Minifabric made inspect your ledger very easy. To see your ledger height and transactions in each block, all you need to do is to run block query command. That command will return a path to a file. Then you can inspect the content of the file. Now let's do some demo. I'm showing you the Chaincode location and the structure. You can see the directory name and those files in different directories for Go and for Node implementation. Now let's install this Chaincode. Notice I'm using the -n option to tell Minifabric what Chaincode I like to install and what language implementation I like to use. The execution context will also display the option values. The language, the name, and the version number. Also the Chaincode parameter, which will be used when Chaincode gets initialized. Chaincode installation actually takes a little bit of while. I fast forwarded the process. Now let's do Chaincode approval. Then the Chaincode commit. Chaincode commit step also includes Chaincode initialization. Once Chaincode is committed, we can do a discover, then invoke some Chaincode method. Here we do a Chaincode query first. We use invoke command. The status is 200. Then we do another query on account B. You can also see the status code is 200, the payload is 300. The reason is because the initialization parameter set A to be 200 and B to be 300. When we do a discover command, it will find quite a few things for us. One of the things important is the endorsers. As you can see, this is saved in the vars discover directory. For each channel, there should be a channel name named directory. In that directory, there should be a Chaincode named endorsers JSON file. That file shows you the Chaincode name, endorsers by group, and how many required from each group. With this file, Minifabric knows how to send transaction proposals. Now let's do a Chaincode transaction. Notice again I'm using the -p option to provide a Chaincode parameter. In that parameter, I am moving 5 from A to B. You can see it completed successfully with the status code 200. Now let's do a block query. If you do not specify any options, block query by default will query the latest block. It will show you the path where the block file located. Let's take a look at the content of the file. You can see the block hash. The context shows we're using the newest block. Here this shows the location of the block file. We can also specify a particular block for inspection. You can see the file again for the block number 8. Again, here's the content. It shows the block hash and the previous hash. After we installed my CC Chaincode, I did not show what containers got produced by Fabric Network. Let's show them now. You can see that each participating peer will have a Chaincode container with the version number in the name. Let's show you how to upgrade Chaincode by using Minifabric combined commands. You can combine few commands together and provide all necessary parameters so that Minifabric can run your commands one by one. In this example, notice I provided the version value and new initialization parameters because of the commit command at the end. Once everything is done, now you can see Chaincode containers with the latest version in their name. The earlier container were all replaced by new ones. In this part of the video, we talked about how to work with Chaincode. In next part, we will talk about endorsement policies, adding new organizations.